Hello everyone, my name is Vic Wright and this is my rundown and preview of the Samurai job in Shadowbringers. This is a series of videos that I've been wanting to make and I decided to start my current main job. The purpose of this video is to act as sort of a preview for what to expect for people who are looking at playing Samurai. I'm going to be going through all of the abilities, showing you what they look like and telling you what they do and how they work together. Then in a separate video, I'm going to be going through tips and tricks and examples of rotations and openers. So let's get into it. To unlock Samurai, you need to own the Stormblood expansion and have at least one other job at level 50. After you do this, if you go to Uldar, there'll be a quest to unlock the job titled The Way of the Samurai. After you finish this quest, you'll have your Samurai unlocked and you'll be on your way to earning your first Fedora. Since Samurai starts at level 50, you'll have access to about 13 skills or abilities right off the bat, but each of these skills have their own normal level on them for when you get synced down. To make this sort of easy, I'm gonna start from what would be the level 1 ability and make my way through. To start out level 1, we have Hikaze. This move is going to be very important. As a samurai, you'll have 3 main combos that all start with this one skill. You might notice it says something about raising your Kenki gauge, but you won't have access to that right away, so I'm going to hold off and explain that when we get to it. At level 4, we have Jinpu. This combos off Hikaze. It provides us with a 40-second buff that increases our damage by 10%. Our first ability, Third Eye, is unlocked at level 6. This will reduce the damage of the next attack that hits you by 10%. It also gives you the Eyes Open buff. I'm going to come back to this later, because until you reach level 58, this buff doesn't really do anything. At level 15 we have NP. This is a ranged attack for when you have to move away from your target. Now at level 18 we have Shifu. This is Jinpu's best friend. This skill will also combo off Hikaze, but instead it will give you a buff that reduces your weapon skill time, spellcast time, and auto attack delay. So basically it makes you just a fast boy. Now once you hit level 26, you'll get the first part of your AoE combo. This is Fuga. It's basically the AoE version of Hikaze. It'll hit everyone in a cone in front of you. And at level 30 we get Gecko. This is our first combo ender. This one combos off of Jinpu, and it will give us Getsu, which is our first Sen, which I'm going to go into explaining now because it also ties in with another skill we get at level 30, Yaijutsu. I am probably butchering the pronunciation of that though. Anyway, this is what I think is the signature move of the samurai. Yaijutsu is split up into 3 different moves, depending on how much Sen you have. So Gecko, that I just talked about, along with 2 other moves, Kasha and Yukikaze, each one of these will grant you one of the 3 Sen. If you have 1 Sen open, then the Yaijutsu becomes Higenbana. This is a damage over time effect that will last 60 seconds. When you have 2 of the 3 Sen open, then it will become Tenkagoken. Again, I'm sorry for my pronunciation, it's gonna be probably wrong this entire video, so I'm gonna apologize in advance. But anyway, this is gonna be a conal AoE attack. And finally, when you have all 3 Sen open, you can use Madari Setsugeka. This is going to be a very strong single target attack, and this is what Samurai is all about, just building your way up for a big burst of damage. Now after that, we go back to the AoE combo for a moment with Mangetsu at level 35. This is going to be an area effect skill. It'll combo off of Fuga, and it's going to extend the duration of Jinpu by 15 seconds. It's also going to give you the Getsu Sen that Gecko also grants. At level 40, we also have Kasha, the second of our combo enders. This will combo off of Shifu, and it's going to give us the Ka Sen. And related to that, at level 45, we have Oka, another area effect combo skill that's going to combo off of Fuga, but instead will extend Shifu's duration by 15 seconds, and grant us the Ka Sen, similar to Kasha. And now to catch us up to where we started at level 50, we have 1 skill and 1 ability. Yukikaze is our final combo ender. This will combo straight off of Hikaze, and it will grant us the Setsu Sen, and also the ability Meikyo Shishui. This lets you use up to 3 weapon skills without having to do the combo that leads up to them. For example, you can use this and then go straight to using Gecko, then Kasha, then Yukikaze for a quick Madari. This also works for Mangetsu and Oka when you're doing AoE attacks. Now we've gone over quite a bit already, but I'm happy to say we're caught all the way back up to where you started out. So feel free to take a breather and then we'll get into what you're going to be learning as you level up. To start this one off, I'm going to take a moment to explain the Kenki gauge. The Kenki gauge is this little sword here. Starting at level 52, there's going to be a trait that lets you earn Kenki from a few skills, mostly combo enders. It's going to be very slow to build up at this point, but once you hit level 62, you'll get another trait, and that's when it's really going to start flowing in. These abilities here are going to give you Kenki when cast, with some giving you extra based on positionals, and some just giving a higher amount in general. The Kenki gauge is used for your Hisatsu abilities. These are what you're going to be weaving in between attacks. Now with that out of the way, level 52 is when you're going to unlock Hisatsu Kaiten and the Kenki gauge itself. At the cost of 20 Kenki, Kaiten will increase the damage of your next weapon skill by 50%. You're basically just going to want to use this to buff your Yaijutsu attacks. At 54 we have Hisatsu Gyoten, which for 10 of your Kenki gauge will let you dash towards your enemy. Similar to this at 56 is when you're going to get Hisatsu Yaten, which is going to let you spend 10 of your Kenki gauge to jump away from your targeted enemy. This is also going to buff NP, the range attack I mentioned earlier. Once you reach level 58, Third Eye finally gets its second use. If you successfully use Third Eye to block damage, you get the Eyes Open buff, and then during this time you'll be able to cast Merciful Eyes, which will heal you. And at level 60 we have Meditate. This will charge your Kenki gauge up as long as you aren't attacking or moving. This only works in combat though, so you'll mostly be using it when you're fighting a boss and the boss becomes untargetable for a little bit of time. Meditate will also charge up your meditation stacks, but this is related to your level 80 ability, so I'm going to hold off and come back to this later. At level 62 we have that trait to upgrade how fast you earn Kenki that I mentioned before, as well as Hisatsu Shinten. At the cost of 25 Kenki, you stab the enemy. This is a pretty good ability to use excess meter on when you're about to cap out or you're in a burst window. Then we have the AoE equivalent of this, which is going to be the level 64 move, Hisatsu Kyuten. Again, 25 Kenki gauge, but instead you hit every enemy around you in a circle. And now we reach the third and final use for Third Eye, which is Hisatsu Seigen. After getting the Eyes Open effect, you can spend 15 of your Kenki gauge to deliver a counter attack. This one's pretty fun to use because it's kinda like you're parrying the enemy's attack, and smart usage of Third Eye into Seigen can really set you and your other fellow samurai apart. At level 68 we get Hagakure, which is another ability, and it's going to be mostly for optimizing your damage. This will consume any sen that you have built up and give you 10 Kenki gauge for each one consumed. At a glance this might not look efficient, and you'd be right in most cases. Hagakure is best used either when you have sen built up and all your buffs have worn off, so it can give you a fresh opener, or it can be good to help line up the cooldown for Tsubamagaishi, which is a skill you're going to get at level 76 that works with Madari Setsugekka. I'm going to go more into this later on when I get to the tip section. At this level we also get Ikishoten, which is straight up just gives us 50 Kenki gauge. And at level 70 we have Hisatsu Guren. This costs 50 Kenki gauge but does a very high damaging attack to all enemies in a line in front of you. Now on to Shadowbringer skills, and we have Hisatsu Sene at level 72. This will share a cooldown with Guren, and it works as a single target counterpart to Guren. At 50 Kenki gauge, it'll deal an extremely high amount of damage to a single target. 74 sees a trait that makes his cast Iaijutsus quicker, bringing down the cast time to 1.3 seconds. Now at level 76 we get to feel like a real powerhouse with Tsubamagaishi. This will let you cast any Iaijutsu you did just before a second time, meaning you can cast Madari for big damage and then just do it again. At level 78 we have another trait. This one makes Jinpu and Shifu buffs go up to 13% instead of 10%. And then finally at level 80 we have Shoha. Along with Shoha comes the meditation stacks that I mentioned earlier. Every time you cast an Iaijutsu or a Tsubamagaishi, you will get a stack of meditation. You'll also generate meditation stacks when you use meditation during combat. Once you have 3 stacks saved up, you can cast Shoha, an ability that will deal a moderate amount of damage. We also have the melee roll abilities that are shared with the other 3 melee jobs. This is Second Wind, a small self-heal, Leg Sweep, a single target stun, Bloodbath, which converts some of the damage into healing, Feint, which will lower target strength and dexterity by 10%, Arm's Length, which will let you ignore knockback or drawing effects, and True North, which lets you ignore positionals for a small amount of time. And that is all the abilities from the Samurai. So thank you for watching, and if you'd like to learn more about Samurai, I have a part 2 where I'm going to go into tips, tricks, and examples of an opener and rotation.